for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Busy? Tired? Not into big gyms? Try 20 minutes twice a week at The Exercise Coach. Private, tech-driven workouts tailored for you. Across from Birkdale Village, serving the 50-plus community for over 5 years. Sign up for 2 free sessions at exercisecoach.com/Huntersville today.
Yes, you can text a pediatrician directly, day or night. That's the power of personal, holistic pediatric care. We come to you, we know your family. It's healthcare with heart, just like it used to be. Call or text Dr. Trey at PEDSND 980-983-0643.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Hello and welcome to Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You got it, 4 o'clock hour on a Thursday. You got 53 minutes, 25 seconds until you get to that 5 o'clock bell, and I appreciate so much you hanging with us here as we give attention to all things economic and financial here on Dollars and Cents. Now, we're going to be talking about a number of different companies today. Some of them are even reporting earnings today, and some have already reported. I'm going to look at some in a positive light. I'm looking at others, maybe not so positive light. It's going to happen. I'll tell you that in advance. You know, as a previous listener, we do that. But in doing so, also recognize and be reminded that nothing that we're talking about here is intended as a specific recommendation for you, meaning that everybody's financial situation is unique. Everybody has their own set of circumstances that need to be taken into consideration, which is why we strongly recommend that you reach out to your tax advisor, your financial advisor, or if you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, love to hear from you, love to chat about your particular financial situation, see if there are ways in which we might be able to be helpful to you. Online, you can find us at northmainfinancial.com. That's north like the direction, Main like the street, financial.com, northmainfinancial.com. We have a contact page on there. Leave us a phone number, email address. Leave us a note as well. Also, let us know if you like to receive text messages. I got to keep saying that. My folks keep telling me that folks communicate via text message, and that is true. And that just, email and phone is not enough anymore. That's true. I get it. A lot of folks do. So anyhow, let us know if you like that as well. Happy to do that in response. Again, at northmainfinancial.com. You're also welcome to call us here in the studios. Producer Reese is ready to go. Happy to take your calls. Can't promise you that your subject matter is going to get on the show immediately because we got a jam-packed hour again here on Dollars and Cents. But I promise you, if I can't get to it this week, I'll get to it next week. Happy to speak into the questions and the subject matter that you're talking about. Obviously, I can't give direct recommendations or tell you whether a stock's a buy or a sell. You know that. Actually, if I tell you it's a buy, you probably should sell it. If I tell you you should sell it, you should probably buy it. That's just a sidebar. But happy to speak into the subject matter that you're talking about. 844-STUDIO-4, 844-788-3464 here in the studios. That's 844-788-3464 here at WSIC. All right, let's jump right into it. Like I said, we are jam-packed, and chances are pretty good we're going to be talking about a couple of other words that begin with the letter F in addition to finance. Don't get excited on me. We're going to be talking a little food and football here a little bit later on. I mean, we got the NFL kicking off tonight. I'm not going to jump ahead. That's always second quarter of the show, but we are kind of excited here. We were talking about that with the production staff before we jumped on the air here, and sure enough, ready or not, here it comes. Of course, if you're a college football fan, you know it already happened last week. But all right, let's get going here. Talking about markets, talking about companies, big one. I know they've talked about this on other shows here on WSIC, specifically Good Morning LKN. I know they were talking about, by the way, if you're not listening to them, 7 to 9 every morning, Monday to Friday. You got Justin, you got Bill, you got Mamie. Check them out. And don't tell me that you can't get the radio signal either. Get on over to the Google store, the Apple store, download that WSIC app. You know the best thing about it? Seriously, it's the best thing. Well, it is for someone like me. Best thing about it. You open that app after you download it, there literally is a big button there. All you got to do is press that button with your thumb. Boom, live broadcast. Doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in the radio signal. It's great stuff. Take a look at it and listen to them. But they had talked about a number of things, but certainly with regards to talking about this company I'm going to bring up next, and that's Google. Actually, it's not Google anymore. Thank you. It is Alphabet. Alphabet, the parent holding company of Google. Ticker symbol, I'm talking about the C as in cat shares here. Green, Oscar Green. GOOG. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity as far as Google is concerned. Big decision from a legal standpoint. And I say big decision because the market obviously was anticipating at least a slightly different outcome, or at least was pricing in the possibility of a more negative outcome for Google. In short, the Department of Justice brought suit against Google, and this has been going on for years. Actually, the first action, if I test my memory here a little bit, I want to say the first action against Google was 15 years ago. When it was brought up actually by the European Union as with regards to the concerns about being a monopoly in the search engine space and in the browser space. And the Department of Justice had approached it again here several years ago, finally got a decision that is now, at least for the moment, binding. But in short, Google does not have to sell off its Chrome browser and does not have to give up most of what makes the Google browser the most dominant browser used on the internet today. Now, they do, and I'm sure this was negotiated at least in part, they do have to give up some user data with regards to what folks are searching and the number of times that they are, I'm sure, whether it's a particular demographic that's looking for certain things, because that data, folks, if you don't know this, and I know that this happens behind the scenes, you may not even think about it all that much. That data is almost literal gold. When you are able to produce dependable data for why folks are using the internet, what intensity, meaning how frequently that they're using it, what they do in addition to that. So if they like product A or they're searching for service B, then perhaps they might also like C, D, E, and F as well. I mean, that is literal gold, and you can almost mint that kind of data. Google, arguably, one of the most prolific in that space in terms of the accumulation of data with regards to how users use the internet. Anyhow, so they're going to have to give up a little bit of that to their competitors, frankly, to make it publicly accessible, which of course will give it to their competitors, but they do not have to divest of any of their IP or internal assets. Now, I know there's a lot of pretty fervent feelings on both sides of this particular issue, meaning the one side of the issue says, why in the world is Google being punished or penalized, use both of those words instead of trying to combine them, being punished or penalized for doing so exceptionally well, meaning that you can do well up to a certain point and then, well, we don't want you to do that well. It's a fair argument. Because, of course, there is no objective line. There is no particular mathematical metric, or there is no percentage of ownership of a particular market or market segment. None of that's out there. It's all completely subjective, which is why it's so incredibly challenging when these sort of actions are brought by the Department of Justice. And it's also one of the reasons why there hasn't been a significant breakup of any notable company really since AT&T over 40 years ago. That when it was broken up into over a dozen different micro bells, if you will, at that time. But which also a very interesting sidebar. Most of those have either gone out of business or recombined. Very interesting sidebar over the course of these years. But it's a very appropriate point saying why is Google being punished? Then the other side says, shouldn't we create a space where there is more opportunity for others to be a participant, and perhaps Google is even engaging in practices which eliminate or at least make it very nearly impossible for competition to thrive. Okay, I hear that as well, but isn't that kind of the function of being in business? Don't you want to have more opportunity for the market? And if you could have 100% of the market, wouldn't you want to do that? What is the obligation of government in order to create a market? Now, that's the loaded question. Because, again, there isn't anything that is anywhere near objective, which defines that. And, frankly, the metrics get different as you look at different companies and even different industries. So very, very difficult to answer. I know it's a heated kind of discussion point, but at least for this time, Google's kind of out of the woods and certainly will be on its merry way, probably going to be under investigation again at some point, though, soon. Well, we're going to take a breath here, folks. Hear from our sponsors. Coming back here in a moment on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
It's still technically summer after all, so the heat shouldn't come as a surprise. Quickly warming back up, but only briefly. Temperatures this afternoon for your Thursday in the mid and upper 80s, and there will be the chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. For your Friday, we're mainly dry but hot. Temperatures get back to around 90 for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC Community Calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville presents Member Happy Hour on Friday night beginning at 5 p.m. Members receive one complimentary drink ticket. On Saturday, Andy Buckner has a live music performance at 6 p.m. Click on the 500 Club online for more information on events, golf lessons, club memberships, and tea times. The Downtown Mooresville Festival of Food Trucks is this Saturday beginning at 5 p.m. Former American Idol contestant Cole Ritter, along with his band The Night Owls, will also be performing. Bring your friends, hang out downtown, enjoy the social district, and delight in food truck cuisine from across the region. The Iredell County Fair continues all this week nightly at the fairgrounds in Troutman. The Statesville Kiwanis Club features carnival rides for all ages, competitive 4-H exhibits, animal shows, and more. Visit IredellFair.com for more information on hours, tickets, entertainment, and daily schedules. See the top riders from the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship on Saturday at ZMAX Dragway. The playoff opener promises plenty of drama and excitement from the moment the gates drop. Click on CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets, a track map, and information on other 2025 events. Mark your calendars. Green Jeans Consignment returns to Concord September 9th to 14th at 601 Milestone Venue. Shop boutique finds, consign your closet, and feel beautiful on a budget. Details at greenjeansale.com. Free live outdoor concerts continue this week with the Langtree Live season finale in Mooresville on Thursday and Friday after 5 in downtown Statesville. Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
Got a sick kid? Your holistic house call pediatrician is just a call or text away. No waiting rooms, no stress. Real care, real connections, 24/7. Back to the way healthcare should be. Call or text Dr. Trey at PEDSMD at 980-983-0643.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. Now the second quarter of today's show. That's a football reference. You hear me say that every week. And sure enough, we were just talking about this before the show, before we went live today. Folks, we're here. I mean, you hear me talk about it pretty much every week, and we even do crazy things like countdowns. I mean, literally the NFL had a countdown clock on there. It's dinging right now. Well, not right this moment, but it is dinging today as of the time of this live broadcast or as of the time of this recording. We got the Cowboys and the Eagles on tonight, Thursday night. Now, Producer Reese, I meant to ask you this during the break, and you may or may not know, but because I don't know, Amazon has, at least for the last year or two, been the Thursday night NFL broadcast, meaning you had to have Amazon to go watch it. Is that true this year as well? Meaning, do you have to have Amazon again, or because those contracts get bid out constantly?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure who's actually broadcasting the game tonight, but I'm sure you could do a quick Google search. We just talked about that last segment, and go on to or any other browser that you'd like to use beyond Google, and check it out. But anyhow, the season does officially start tonight. You got the Cowboys, you got the Eagles, who are going to be on, and we're ready for it. And now, if you're a big time college fan, last week was your week. I mean, holy smokes. The number of big games. I mean that number of big games to happen that early in the season. I'm sure it's happened previously. I'm not one who gets into the superlatives of best ever, first time ever, never before again, or any of that kind of thing. But it was big. And I mean, there was some impressive college football happening last weekend. Now, there wasn't a whole lot. Producer Reese and I were talking about this during the break. There wasn't a whole lot of impressive football happening for our UNC Tar Heels. That was a tough one. Now, I love all our NC teams, and I know that sounds a little wishy-washy, but I do. I didn't go to an NC school, so I love them all because I have adopted the North Carolina and the South now in these years. But it was unpleasant to be. I mean, wow.
I I was grown up to despise the Tar Heels.
Okay, so do you have some Wolfpack then in your house, or you got some maybe the Mountaineers, App State, or what do you got there?
If I had to choose, probably the Mountaineers.
Mountaineers,
yeah.
okay.
But my dad, he's Indiana.
Well, you got that's right.
So
I forgot he's an IU guy.
No
that's
Tar
right.
Heels.
No, you're right.
No
okay.
Kentucky blue.
No, yeah, you true anything blue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can't look at Duke. You can't look at anybody blue. No, that's fair. That's fair being from IU out there in Indiana. But yeah, if you're an App State aficionado, then you definitely have some fans here in this studio.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you guys got a lot of friends here,
yeah.
so that's good. But at any rate, good stuff getting kicked off in the season here. By the way, sidebar, little anecdotal fact. Just as I was doing some research and some due diligence for today's show this year, and I guess it shouldn't surprise. I'm not sure it's even a notable fact, except that it is true, but maybe it is almost implied relative to the number of dollars that are spent in all things that have to do with big-time college football in the NFL. Number one this year, meaning the largest anticipated year. Obviously, we're just getting started. Largest anticipated year of advertising revenue linked to the NFL. So that, and again, that may be implied. My guess is pretty much every year is a new record when it comes to that kind of thing. I mean, the NFL is just an amazing franchise. Also, a little bit more anecdotal data. Just as you've heard us talk about here on Dollars and Cents, the provision that has been allowed now by the NFL, where up to 10% of each of the 32 franchises, don't have to do this, but up to 10% can be sold to individual investors or private money outside of the ownership group. Now, without getting too far into the weeds on that, basically that means that the ownership group can sell up to 10% of the franchise to private investors if they so choose to do that. And I think it's only been 3 so far that I think have done that, if memory serves. As of right now, I think only 3 franchises have done that. Tons more conversations going on because the demand's off the chart. I mean, and it's a lot of it is these private equity firms that have tons of cash to be able to put to it and want to get in on it because of how profitable it is to own some of these franchises. Just heard some of the valuation updates that were done here recently on a number of NFL franchises because, in no small part, because of these provisions, because you have to value the franchise in order to be able to sell off a part of it, obviously, right? So if you're gonna buy 1%, well, you got to buy 1% of something, so you have to value it in real time. The Dallas Cowboys, who are playing tonight, the Dallas Cowboys, most recent valuation, which was done in the last 12 months, now valued at over $10 billion. $10 billion. I mean,
whoa.
I mean, it is. I mean, now there's a lot that goes into that. Yes, it's the franchise, but a lot of it has to do as well with the stadium rights, concession, all the products that have Dallas Cowboys logos associated with them, which I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones owns. If he doesn't own the whole shooting match, he owns the majority of all of that. So he's definitely controlling that branding. And so it's different, a little bit different for different franchises based upon whether they own the stadium, meaning the ownership group, or the municipality owns the stadium. So there's a lot that goes into that. But over $10 billion. And then, so they're number one in terms of the valuation. So they're up there in the 10 billion range. But then the number of franchises, I think the Eagles as well. I'm testing a little bit of a rusty memory here. I want to say the Eagles were valued over $8 billion. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I remember when Dave Tepper bought the Panthers here. Where are we at? 6, 7, 8, 9 years? I don't think it's been 10 years that he's owned the franchise. If it is, it's right at that level. And I think at that time it was actually the most ever paid for controlling interest in an NFL team. I want to say it was $2.2 billion. If my rusty memory serves, $2.2 billion, and now we're up over $10 billion. The appreciation in the average NFL franchise, that's why all these private equity firms want in on it. Last year, just over the last 12 months, 18%. It's unbelievable. I mean, the brand, it's relentless. Love it or hate it. It is relentless in terms of the value proposition. It's no wonder why so many why so many investors want to be a part of it. And again, it's not like it's a publicly traded company, so you got to have, bring up an ownership group, and it's not like you can buy a share for, $50 or $100. I mean, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion in the case of the Dallas Cowboys, if you're going to buy that 10% stake or the whole 10% stake that's available. So, I mean, we're talking a gargantuan amount of money. And so very often it's a collection of folks, or like I said, these firms, these private equity firms that pool funds together. Anyhow, amazing stuff. So I know you're saying, well, these guys talk about football. Yeah, it's a huge business. And it's not millions anymore with an M. It is billions with a B that is generated from the experience of watching football, and of course all the ancillary things, television contracts, merchandising deals, and all that go along with that as well. So pretty amazing stuff. So I had to bring that up. We always do that in the second quarter here, but let's go ahead and keep going. All right, we got this is a big one. Well, I say it's a big one primarily because of how much the stock appreciated in a day. And I'm looking at you, American Eagle Outfitters, AEO, Alpha Edward Oscar, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity. I mean, increase their market capitalization in a single day over a quarter. And when I say over a quarter, that's not 25 cents. That's 25% that it increased in a day. Now, there are, with small companies, AEO is not a small company, but with small companies, it can happen, right? You get a small pharmaceutical company that makes its way through a couple levels of FDA trials. Very often you're going to see a big jump in that kind of thing. You'll see 20, 30, 50, 100% kinds of moves in there in a very short period of time. But for an apparel company to move 25% in a day, that's very unusual. That is very, very unusual. And they ascribed it basically to their new marketing campaign. So they've got, and I'm going to mess up these names, so you got to correct me here, producer Reese. Sydney Sweeney.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Yep.
So attracting the female buyers, and then I want to say, if again memories, Travis Kelce, I think.
Yep, he did it too
on the male side of things. Yep. And somebody also told me as I was doing a little bit of research here and was just having a conversation about it, TJ Watt may be in on it as well. Like he has his own line that maybe AEO that AEO is marketing as well. Yeah. So anyhow, they've obviously gone very heavy in on some of the biggest names that are out there in terms of advertising, and apparently it's working, or at least the market believes that it's working. Because again, for a company to appreciate over 25% in a day, that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad. It's just amazing. I mean, you see that
unreal.
Happen. I mean, it really is. Because apparel companies, again, generally speaking, by the way, the whole apparel industry, it's brutal. It is a brutal business. Razor thin margins, and in about 12 seconds, you can be out of style. And I'm saying that's not hyperbole. I mean, the way that we move in terms of what we like to buy when it comes to our apparel, it shifts in seconds. Sometimes. So to be in a space where you can maintain brand dominance, and again, I think American Eagle, like so many outfitters or apparel providers, has been in and out of style through the years, right? They've been around for quite some time, so it's not like they're a new name. But I look at some of even the more ubiquitous names that are out there, and I'm looking at things like Nike. I'm looking at things like Under Armour. I'm looking at things, Ralph Lauren that's out there. I mean, they've been around for a very long time, and there have been times where they are much more attractive to the market, where they have very good margins, and there are other times where the market basically disowns them. I mean, Nike's going through it. I mean, how are you going to argue with Nike? I mean, basically since they signed Michael Jordan there back in the 80s, I mean, they have just been one of the most powerful brand names in the apparel, certainly the shoe end of the market, and even there they're going through a tough time right now, especially internally, corporately. Their financials just not pleasant for someone who's watching that kind of stuff like I am. But sure enough, when you look at AEO, they went up 25% a day. I hope you owned the stock about 4 days ago. Seriously, I hope you did. Because today's a good day when you're looking at that kind of appreciation. You may want to look at taking some of the cream off the top. That's not very natural whenever things move that much in a given day. But all right, everybody has their own situation, though. Everybody unique. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold there. Going to take a break here. Be back in a few seconds here on Dollars and Cents.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
You know, it's still technically summer after all, so the heat shouldn't come as a surprise. Quickly warming back up, but only briefly. Temperatures this afternoon for your Thursday in the mid and upper 80s, and there will be the chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. For your Friday, we're mainly dry but hot. Temperatures get back to around 90 for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
This is Sheriff Darren Campbell with the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. Every day, scammers are targeting people right here in our community through phone calls, emails, and text messages, trying to steal your money, your personal information, and even your identity. If someone calls claiming to be from a government, a bank, or even law enforcement demanding money or personal details, stop and think. Legitimate organizations will never ask for gift cards, wire transfers, or your passwords over the phone or email. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Hang up, don't click that link, and never share personal information with someone you don't trust. At the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, we're working to protect our community, and we're proud to partner with WSIC because local starts here, and keeping you informed keeps you safe. Stay alert, stay smart, and don't fall for a scam.
Yeehaw for rodeo season at Harrison's, the home of work, western, and wow. Whether you compete or cheer from the stands, Harrison has the looks to help you wow the crowd. Get western classics in the latest styles from Harriet, Cinch, Rock and Roll Denim, and Wrangler. Find us in Mooresville.
If you need home medical equipment, call Lowry Drug in Statesville. We have everything you need in stock, including portable oxygen concentrators, CPAPs, masks, lift chairs, wheelchairs, scooters, hospital beds, supplies, and anything else you need. Get it when you need it. Check out LowryDrug.com or call 704-873-2247. Lowry Drug, your hometown source since 1959, across from Iredell Memorial Hospital. We are worth the drive. Come see us.
Harness the healing power of horses with the amazing staff at Willow Equine in Mooresville. We create a supportive environment conducive to healing and growth, dedicated to self-discovery and overcoming adversity. There's a program for you at willowequine.com.
Hey folks, you know Randy Marion is the king of price when it comes to buying a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle, but how about king of price when it comes to the service department? Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville has you covered on tires, brakes, batteries, wipers, you name it. Any service you need on your vehicle, regardless of the make or model, come see Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville Service Department or Randy Marion Ford Lincoln Service Department today.
How can we make your day spotless? Yes, I'm Andrea, owner of Spotless Cleaning. Of course, our technicians do the extras. It surprises people. Yes, baseboards, window frames, and of course, toilets. Not maids, trained technicians. Exactly. In Brazil, my grandparents taught me to live my life without guilt. Yes, more time means better, bigger life. Yes, with Spotless Cleaning, you live it. Plus, have a clean house. SpotlessCleaningNC.com.
Welcome home to comfort. Family-owned, community-focused. Horn Heating and Air Conditioning is proud to have served our community for over 40 years. We treat you as family because you are family. Your comfort is our business. Visit hornhvac.com today.
Don't miss a thing. Download the WSIC News app today. WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. We're seeing a few cracks in the labor market ahead of tomorrow's monthly payrolls report. According to outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, American companies announced plans in August to add close to 1,500 jobs. That's the fewest for the month, going back to 2009. In a separate report, ADP says private sector payrolls increased by 54,000, roughly half the pace of the prior month. From great genes to great earnings, shares of American Eagle are soaring today following a quarter driven by surging sales and a viral ad campaign with actress Sydney Sweeney. Another big apparel named Gap is branching out. The company says it'll test a wider assortment of beauty products and accessories at stores within stores at Old Navy this fall. Markets are higher. They're up between 0.6 and 0.7%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Friendly reminder, don't brake when you see the lake.
WSIC. Local starts here.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here into the second half, football reference, of today's show. Appreciate so much you doing that, especially as we're giving attention to all things economic and financial. And yeah, we do. We talk football. We talk huge business. Huge. I'm not kidding. When I'm talking about billions with a B, I just told you what some of the value of these franchises are. We got the first one over $10 billion. The Dallas Cowboys playing tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles. And all of these franchises, $6, $8 billion, $9 billion in terms of value. I mean, it truly is unbelievable. And they justify it. I mean, I should say that. But my opinion is they justify the valuation. The amount of profit that these NFL franchises just bang out. By the way, another little anecdotal side note, this is as of last year. Every single NFL franchise is profitable. Very interesting to me. Because again, it's not the kind of thing like where you're looking at just, the random 32 best companies. I mean, in any group, right, you're going to have some that do well, some that not do well. I mean, certainly when you look at all of the football franchises out there, there are some that have success, right? That are doing well. And there are others that are, well, let's say like our lovable Panthers have had less success here over the last couple of years. And yet they are still relentlessly profitable. It is. It's an amazing business model, and it's very apparent why so many people want to be involved with it because of the profitability of the investment. And like I said, the numbers released here most recently showed an 18% appreciation just in 1 year of the average NFL franchise. Not everyone appreciated that much. You got some more, some less. But, I mean, gosh, 18% a year. That's 2 or 3 years as far as I'm concerned, but it has happened, and it's amazing. All right, let's pivot here. We've got to talk a little bit of food. We do that around here because, well, we like to eat. And also because food is fun as well. We also bring in the financial aspect of things, certainly when we're talking about publicly traded companies. And I know I heard from a couple of you that say, well, you talk about these large global companies, and you got to talk about some of our local vendors as well, or our local eating establishments. I will. That's a fair point. And because they absolutely do need to have some time on here as well. But I am going to start with a couple of publicly traded ones. That's important. We're talking finances here. Looking at you, Starbucks, and it's that time of the year. Ticker symbol Sam Bravo Umbrella X-Ray SBUX. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity. I mean, it is pumpkin spice latte season. Now,
I already knew where you were going.
I mean, if I'm talking Starbucks and it's after Labor Day, I mean, what else am I talking about?
Right.
But, and I was also informed, because I am woefully behind on all things trendy and current, that for those who are in the know, you don't even say pumpkin spice latte. It's just a PSL.
I did not know that.
That makes me feel a little bit better, Producer Reese, because you are not exactly in my age demographic.
I would just say the whole name.
See, that's what I would say as well. But apparently it's just a PSL. Now, what's interesting about this is, because of course I had to do a little research, because it's not just the pumpkin spice latte, but Starbucks has made this into an enterprise.
Yeah.
The whole fall pumpkin spice, I mean, the whole end of things. Here's just some of the new ones here. I had to write these down because, of course, I wasn't going to remember them. They're so detailed in terms of the new offerings for the fall season. So let's call it the new fall offerings. Pecan oat milk cortado. I'm not even sure what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't know if you put it in a glass or you eat it like a cookie.
And that actually brings up a point I want to make.
Right.
If someone walked up to me randomly and said, want to get a PSL, I would say, what's that?
Well, or I would say, isn't that what the PSL, what you have to buy first before you're able to buy Panthers tickets, right? Isn't that right? The seat license, isn't that the bit? I mean, that's what I would think, but of course, I'm not very current on all things. So pecan oat milk cortado. I mean, sounds good.
It does.
And then a pecan cold foam, which I do know goes in a glass.
Yeah.
Primarily because I think one of my daughters ordered it at one point. They also are coming out now, and I do like coconut. The coconut menu Now, there are only 2 items that I saw on there, and I know some folks really like coconut, other folks really don't. I happen to like coconut, and you're probably saying, well, there isn't really anything that you don't like. Fair point on that idea. But 2 items on the coconut menu, a cold brew coffee, so a coconut-infused cold brewed coffee, and a matcha, which I know is another drink that you put in a glass as well. So interesting, kind of going to coconut flavor, coconut bend there during this fall season.
I actually don't know what coconut tastes like.
I mean, you got to kind of try because it is a distinct flavor in my opinion. Okay. So I like it a lot.
I don't know if I like it or not.
So you got to try it out. So you got to roll through Starbucks, just like 300 or 400 of your closest friends will do at any given time. In the drive-through, right? Because those lines usually extend out onto the street. At least they do here on Catawba Avenue. But in addition to the PSL, I'm going to start calling it a PSL just so I can sound trendy with that. But they also have pumpkin cream cold brew, have iced pumpkin cream chai, and a pumpkin cream cheese muffin. I mean, they're all in. They're all in on pumpkin. I mean, it must be. I'm sure I could find this. If I rip through one of their 10Qs or 10K reports, I'm sure I could find the answer to this question. I haven't done that yet. Of course, with AI now, I don't even need to look. I should just have ChatGPT go look for me. But I wonder the percentage of gross revenue that is generated from things pumpkin related.
Oh my gosh.
For Starbucks. I mean, there's a reason why they're going all in on this. It works.
Because it works.
I mean, it's obviously, I mean, that's just, whew. And again, pumpkin, I've shared this before. Pumpkin, I like it, but I'm not going out of my way for it. Meaning I'm not chasing it down, or I'm not like somebody says, do you like pumpkin pie? I do, but if I have, let's say, 3 pie options and pumpkin is one of them, I may go with pumpkin, but I'm probably, especially if I got blackberry in there, I'm probably leaning towards another option. It's just me though.
Yeah, I don't really like pumpkin.
Yeah, it's I think, and pumpkin I wouldn't have seen as being one of those uber popular fruits that are out there, like until Starbucks just made it a thing.
I think it's just because of like the fall,
right?
And
definitely,
everything outside is orange.
Oh, it's a picture.
So
you're right about that, producer.
It's Reese. A visual.
You're exactly. It's an experience, right? Yeah. Kind of like going into a Starbucks, right? It's definitely not just about getting a hot cup of coffee.
You got to sit down at the table with your laptop.
Correct.
And got to be typing an email to somebody.
You have literally just you have set the picture on there. I probably have some earbuds in, right? Because I'm listening to something.
Yeah,
probably
AirPods, maybe.
Probably, yeah. Exactly. I said AirPods. Yeah, AirPods, correct. and I'm probably listening to a podcast, right, of some kind. Yeah, you got the picture.
Most likely, you have a MacBook.
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, I probably not my beat up old Dell laptop. It's probably not that. You got it. You got it spot on here. So anyhow, Starbucks owning the market when it comes to all things that are fall drink related. Not just hot drinks. I got the cold drinks, the cold brew as well. All right, I got to bring in a local one here. Like I said, I heard you, and I promised that I'd bring in one here. I'm looking at, and this is not a publicly traded company, but we have presence right here in Cornelius. And what I was amazed is I was doing a little bit of due diligence on this company. Like I said, it's private, so it's a little tough to get a whole lot of deep dive data on them. But I was able to find a little bit. I was amazed to find out they have over 300 locations, and I'm looking at you, Cookout. And I'm talking about Cookout. Now, first of all, we got one here in Cornelius. Producer Reese giving me the 2 thumbs up. I'm with you, double thumbs up. But I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I like Cookout is because of how they manage the whole food process. First of all, just like the name suggests, if you're not familiar with Cookout, first of all, find one and go buy something. Because it is fantastic, according to me, of course. But when we're looking at what they offer, it's burgers, it's hot dogs, it's chicken, they even have a corn dog. I mean, they got North Carolina barbecue. I got to say North Carolina barbecue because sometimes I say barbecue, my friends up north get a little bit twisted up and thinking about what that is. But it is it is wonderful. And what's awesome, you can get a hamburger with a side order of a corn dog. I mean, it's not just like a hamburger and fries. I mean, what's not to love about that? I mean, it is. By the way, also milkshakes, 40 of them, 40 different flavors of milkshakes. I mean, what's not to love about it? Folks, there are 300 locations here in the Southeast. I think you can find one. They're also going to be opening up in Florida here. I read about that as well. Very interesting. They open up late. Or they're open late. So if you got that late night cravings like I do, definitely helpful there. All right. We're going to hear from our sponsors one more time as we get ready for the fourth quarter here on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. Coming back on WSIC.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
It's still technically summer after all, so the heat shouldn't come as a surprise. Quickly warming back up, but only briefly. Temperatures this afternoon for your Thursday in the mid and upper 80s, and there will be the chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. For your Friday, we're mainly dry but hot. Temperatures get back to around 90 for the afternoon. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville presents Member Happy Hour on Friday night beginning at 5 p.m. Members receive one complimentary drink ticket. On Saturday, Andy Buckner has a live music performance at 6 p.m. Click on the 500 Club online for more information on events, golf lessons, club memberships, and tea times. The Downtown Mooresville Festival of Food Trucks is this Saturday beginning at 5 p.m. Former American Idol contestant Cole Ritter, along with his band The Night Owls, will also be performing. Bring your friends, hang out downtown, enjoy the social district, and delight in food truck cuisine from across the region. The Iredell County Fair continues all this week nightly at the fairgrounds in Troutman. The Statesville Kiwanis Club features carnival rides for all ages, competitive 4-H exhibits, animal shows, and more. Visit IredellFair.com for more information on hours, tickets, entertainment, and daily schedules. See the top riders from the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship on Saturday at ZMAX Dragway. The playoff opener promises plenty of drama and excitement from the moment the gates drop. Click on CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets, a track map, and information on other 2025 events. Mark your calendars. Green Jeans Consignment returns to Concord September 9th to 14th at 601 Milestone Venue. Shop boutique finds, consign your closet, and feel beautiful on a budget. Details at greenjeansale.com. Free live outdoor concerts continue this week with the Langtree Live season finale in Mooresville on Thursday and Friday after 5 in downtown Statesville. Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. We are now in the fourth quarter, football reference, of today's show. You got 11 minutes, 53 seconds until you hit that 5 o'clock bell. I appreciate, as you have, during this hour, spending that time with us, talking things economic, financial. Yep, we're talking football and food, too. Got to keep the spice, no pun intended, just since we just talked about Starbucks. Got to keep the spice into things as well. I mean, I can talk about, interest rate valuations, interest rate futures contract valuations the entire hour, but I'm probably going to put you to sleep in about 40, maybe 45 seconds. So we bring in some anecdotal things like that as well to kind of keep things on the spicy end. Speaking of spicy, I didn't bring this up to you, Producer Reese. I got one more before we go jumping back into the markets. This one, I was not enthusiastic when I saw it. Now, I know that this apparently is a trend out there with candy right now. So talking about sweets, right? So sweet candy kinds of things, that there is a trend to have some candies that have variations that are also spicy. So this sweet spicy combination, I see you wrinkle in your brow there. I was the same way. I didn't know that. Of course, I'm not exactly trendy on my end of things, but I did not know that. But one of my most beloved ones, and this is me personally, Skittles. So Skittles, owned by Mars Company. Mars Company still privately held by one family. Now that may change here at some point. I'm not going to get into that right now, but for right now, still privately held. Skittles made by Mars Company, so privately held, and but they are coming out with the Skittles are coming out with Skittles gummies First of all, didn't like that because I really like the original Skittles. And then not just gummies, but they're called Gummies Fuego. So they are a spicy sweet combination of Skittles gummies, which in my world, if you're going to gummies, first of all, it's not Skittles. You got to call it something else. I get it. You got the brand. You're trying to span it, break it out a little bit. But if you're going to gummies, that's not Skittles, so it shouldn't be called that. And then the whole sweet, spicy thing. That wasn't, so you're shaking your head, producer Reese. Okay. And there probably are plenty of you out there like, well, it's amazing. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. But that one was, that caused me to wrinkle my nose a little bit. So I was looking at that saying, okay, that's important. It's important that folks know that, especially if you're a candy fanatic, looking at that kind of thing, certainly with regards to what Mars Company is doing. But that whole spicy sweet trend, I don't need to chase that one down.
No.
Very different from, say, a cheeseburger, corn dog combination, a cookout, which I would walk across a field of broken glass for that. That's just the truth. I mean, that's not hyperbole. I actually would absolutely do that. All right, let's talk markets here a little bit. Going to talk about big company. They actually have earnings. They probably have already been released. And as of the time of this live broadcast, or as of the time of this recording, if you're listening to the podcast end of things, and it's one of the largest semiconductor companies out there. Huge investments in the AI end of things, have had a terrific run this year already. And they've had several years of terrific run. You may be thinking, oh, I'm talking NVIDIA. Nope, bending away to one of their competitors here, looking at Broadcom. Broadcom, ticker symbol Alpha Victor Green Oscar, AVGO. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity there. Superlative company. When I say superlative, I'm talking about it in terms of the financial aspect of things. Again, not a recommendation to do anything with them, just talking about where financially they've been. And the stock price has reflected that. Now, I don't know what they're probably selling off in the after hours, or somebody said, what do you mean you're talking about this is a good company? Yeah, it doesn't mean that the stock price goes up forever. You know that. You know that as a previous listener here, but still a superlative company coming out with earnings today. Going to be interesting to see, and I say this without knowing what their earnings announcement was for this past quarter, but it's going to be interesting to see what the overall market sentiment is with regards to them, especially because of the probably appropriate lukewarm reception that the market took to NVIDIA's earnings here a couple weeks ago. And I say that because we're talking again about two exceptionally large companies and who have done very, very well in the market insofar as their stock price is concerned. I mean, I'll just toss this number out there to you. In this year alone, so actually I shouldn't say that, from the low that they hit their, I think it was the first week of April, Broadcom hit their low for the year in terms of stock price. They have added $700 billion of market value. $700 billion. Folks, that was only 6 months ago. I mean, it's not like we're talking about 6 years ago or 60 years ago or anything like that. No, it was a low. Yes, I am looking at the low for the year there in the first or second week of April. Since that time, $700 billion of market cap appreciation since that time. I hope you owned it back there and that you've been able to ride at least a part of that wave that has happened there. Just amazing. And so I'm saying all of that to say, and you've heard me say this a number of times, I'm going to say it here quickly, and I'm going to say it again before we close out today's show. Be cautious, folks. Be cautious. When you have something that has appreciated so much in value. For example, we were talking in the last segment about, or actually it was 2 segments ago, about American Eagle Outfitters, AEO is the ticker symbol there. Again, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold that stock or debt either. But how they appreciated 25% in a day, literally today, that happened. Folks, that's not normal. And I'm not saying that to look the proverbial gift horse in the mouth. I'm just saying, just be cautious with that. Don't have an unnatural linear expectation. All right, there's the 10-cent phrase. What does that mean? That means just because it happened here recently, don't assume that that's the way that things are going to continue to perform or that performance is going to be repeated. At a certain point, it can't. I mean, look at NVIDIA, for example. Ticker symbol Nancy Victor Dollar Alpha. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity there. I mean, a lot of folks very enthusiastic. Largest company in the world, publicly traded company in the world in terms of market capitalization. Over $4 trillion of market capitalization. Friends, just walk with me here for just a moment. So there's been a tremendous amount of appreciation here in NVIDIA, especially over the last several years. They're a $4 trillion company now. If they appreciate another 8 or 100%, they're an $8 trillion company. If you take the entire stock market, right, or at least the most publicly traded ones in the stock market, you're talking about 32-ish trillion that's traded in a given day. One company, 25% of that? Come on. That's not, it's just not natural. It's just not the kind of thing that would be natural to expect. Companies begin to mature, meaning that as they get larger and they get older, especially longer in their product cycle, they begin to mature. You don't have to believe me. Some of the most well-known names out there have absolutely gone through this, some of them a couple of times. I'm looking at you, Microsoft. I'm looking at you, Apple. Apple, by the way, sidebar, Apple went through, let me call it the eye of a needle several times that close to bankruptcy. And you're saying, well, they got iPhone, they got iPad, they're dominant. Correct today. But if you got a little less hair on your head and what you have left is gray, like I do, then you know that was actually the case where Apple went through a miserable time. This was pre-iPhone, pre-iPad. I'll grant you all of that when they were primarily desktop and laptop computers. But they were literally within a razor's edge of being in full-on bankruptcy. And so it happens. Companies go through cycles. It's not true that just because a company has done well here recently, that they're going to do well in perpetuity. It just doesn't work that way. So just be careful with that. Microsoft, very, very similar. Microsoft literally was in the software business. Now they are in all manner of things, including AI, but certainly with regards to cybersecurity, certainly with regards to cloud management. I mean, certainly on the AI end of things with Copilot. I mean, they have branched, this is my opinion, they have branched magnificently well into the next generation to make the company more robust and not just so singularly focused on software or software licensing that really was their bread and butter for such a long time. So just be careful with that kind of thing. Be careful with your expectations. I'm saying that with regards to Broadcom without knowing what their quarterly results are at this point, but with any of these companies that have just done so incredibly well in the most recent term, be careful about your assumption that that's the way that things are going to continue. All right, let's keep going here. I want to talk a little macro for just a moment as we're wrapping up today's show. Unemployment figures, and I'm bringing this up. Well, maybe because I would have expected by this point. Certainly, I said this about a year ago on this show. You can go back and listen to it. By the way, it's on there, WSIC app, WSIC website. You got recordings of our past shows. You can go back and take a listen. But I'll tell you in advance that I expected at that time, which has not materialized, that our unemployment figures would be higher than they are today. Fact is, folks, they're not. 4.2%, depending upon how you measure it, 4.2%. Unemployment right now, 230-ish thousand new unemployment claims that were announced this morning. And that's a big number, yes, but that's very normalized. That's a very normal week. 1.7 to 1.8 million on continuing claim. Those folks who have been receiving benefits more than a week. Again, a large number, but relative to an economy and a workforce of our size, very normalized. And so we're just not seeing that at this point. Now, as you just heard me say, don't think in straight lines with regards to stocks. Don't think in straight lines with regards to the economy and relative to the workforce, that things are going to continue to be in this space forever. They won't be. I promise you. What's going to be the impetus to change it? I have no idea. None of us do. But in looking at it, don't make the assumption or don't do it from a planning standpoint that just because, this is now recency bias where we're getting into, just because it happened recently means that it's going to happen that way in the future. That's not true. It may be in the short run, that may be the case, as certainly has happened here in the stock market here on the more aggressive end of the universe here in the first 8 months of the year. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where the trend will continue. That's why I'm constantly imploring you on here, especially when you're looking at your portfolio and especially when you're looking at the things that have done the best here year to date, folks, just take a breather with it. Maybe it's time to skim some of that proverbial cream off the top. Maybe it's time to stuff it into something that's a little bit more conservative. I'm not saying that things are going to crash. They may not. I'm not saying that they are. But what I am saying is that this market is relentlessly cyclical. You don't have to believe me. Look at the last 90 years. It absolutely is cyclical. We have our peaks, we have our valleys, and we have a whole lot of time spent in between. The time to make those kinds of tweaks and adjustments, though, in the best space, is when things are strong, when things have done well. That's why I keep tossing that out there to you. Make sure you take a look at it, especially with regards to the ones that have done so very well for you this year. Well, friends, as always, I appreciate so much you hanging with us here on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. Thursdays at 4 o'clock is where you can find us here on WSIC, so make sure to tune in next week. I'll see you then.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville, W2